Well, welcome everybody. How are y'all doing on this fabulous Friday? Good to see everyone. Thank you for tuning in. It's really much appreciated. And I guess as they say, I never say I always forget this, but hit the like button. And if you're a subscriber, thank you. Bring in another friend and have them subscribe. Make sure you're subscribed because this algorithm does some funny stuff at times. And hit the like button. Feed the machine, right? So welcome everybody. So good to see you. Speaking favor over us all, and talk about a time when favor manifest before the world. And it's amazing how even when the world sees it, they miss it. And we're going to be talking about favor, baby. Yeah, uh-huh. And a little bit of nothing missing and a nothing broken on the side. I don't think the world's quite ready for that one yet, but they'll get there. The thing about it is, we speak it. And as I wrote in, if you'll read my earlier comments, in fact, I just want to read it to everybody because it's so readable. As they would say. So let me pull this puppy up. I wrote earlier, I said, this is an amazing group of spiritual giants, so many powerful gods among us. You helped bring this into reality. We came against a powerful force of hate, and we spoke against it, and love won. And it did. I always think of you, Mary Wins. Love, in fact, did win. And that is remarkable. I mean, it really is. And this channel is a record. It's a actual record that this is new. 6 weeks ago, if you look on a second look, and then you looked at the next one and the next one, and what did your lovely host? By the way, thank you everyone in the chat room. How are y'all? So good to see you. Anyway, yours truly came forward and said, there's no love. It's not in the media. It's not in any of these campaigns. There is no love. Love, not even the word. And it's on the record. And you heard me say that we could change that. And the thing about it is, our skepticism, we've become cynics. Even those of us who think that we really got our poop together, that we really know this stuff, and our experience, man, just makes us so, experienced. We become cynical. But yet, I said we could call that in. Now, I'll give credit to everyone in the chat room that participates. And Mary Wins, I'll say that right up front, sweetheart. You know, the fact that you type it and it's spoken causes it. And she's always written, love won. And it's on the record as well. About 2 weeks ago, I said, wouldn't it be a great little project if we just thought love? It was again with Trina and Jenny on a second look on Tuesdays. And folks, it's here. We are living in the time of signs and wonders. Now, one could say, well, that's an awful arrogant statement to say, Steiger, that your little group, and we're a little group, that y'all had that kind of impact. Well, I can only say it because it's true. We saw this, and it took what was supposed to be a curse that instantly became favor. and the world saw favor. Two words I have heard, particularly in the last 72 hours: love, 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 and favor. The other interesting thing is that it's catching on. There are now communities in India, Hindus, Buddhists, many others, Taoists. They're now praying. Now they're praying for the chosen one, and I'm very serious about this. You can't degrade that comment. Let's put your ass up there and let's see just how well it fares for you. My point is, this is spreading. And it's remarkable to see what's happening. Now, as love begins to be used in the right way, hate. Hate has been in control, wow, I would say for the last decade or so, in an intense way. It assumed egregore status. And all you saw was hate, vitriol, because if you can't talk on the merits of your accomplishments and you have to resort to attacks, hate, well, then it might be evidence that you don't have any foundation. And so to go into a route where you're just going to promote hate, particularly against an individual, and this is what your whole mantra is about. Well, the problem is that now that has become a curse. There is a curse that is active right now. Now, I've told y'all that I used to be heavily involved in politics, particularly, Republican politics. I was at a time a registered lobbyist. So I'm well versed. When I was with the team that when we invented pay at the table, I was the CEO of that company and got to go to Capitol Hill, met with members of the Senate Banking Committee, very well versed with the structure, engaged lobbying firms. I mean, you go through 3rd, 4th, and 5th Street there by the Capitol, that's Lobbyist Row. So I know, and now that I see it through a different set of lenses, politics is high magic. It is occultism beyond most people's ability to apprehend, much less comprehend, the fact that what we're viewing is the highest form of magic. It ranks right up there with religion. And there's nothing wrong with that. We humans live in magic. If you believe the story that something can create you out of nothing just like that, that's magic. But anyway, so what is happening now is it's absolutely mind-boggling, because it appears that this was, by all evidence, there's too many things that are going, and there's a curse. You see, when at this moment when history was changed, and I got to tell you, you use the expression, my God. Well, that's your God. But you think about it, my God. And let me tell you, it's not lost on others who you would not think that would be open-minded in such ideologies and philosophies. They are. They get it. And they're much like us. They can't define it. So they give it a name. You can say it's God. You can say whatever it is. But it happened. Now, what's so interesting was that at that exact moment, this curse was unleashed. Now, the thing about this curse is that it is now attaching itself to everything that opposed this. And this curse brings with it the spirit of confusion. This is no bullshit, folks. This is the shit, man. This is fucking life. This is that unseen fucking world that we all think that we know about coming into play right before our eyes. It's happening. Now, you look at one particular political party that thought it was in power, that had assumed this, and there's a lesson here. But anyway, they are cursed now. They're under a curse. And the thing about it is, it's not your beautiful host here saying this. No, I'm saying it. I've been saying it. But the odd thing is that it's being said by what I would call the norms, the straights. Yeah. Contributing writer wrote, "Isn't it odd how it seems everything is going wrong, in this case for the Democrats? Everything. They are in a state of confusion." I'm reading that, I'm going, wow, maybe this dude really knows what they're talking about. Yeah. Signs and wonders. There are channels on YouTube that show the pictures and what people, folks, this is fucking the time of signs and wonders. And maybe you may be able to capture a moment, but it ain't going to be there in the next moment. The time of Noah, signs and wonders. It's here. It's all around us, and it's only going to get, oh, baby, you haven't seen anything yet. There are plots right now that are being planned that ain't going to go the way that they thought they was going to go. It's a curse. It's a living curse. It brings cancer. It brings sickness. It brings confusion. It brings this innate ability of self-destructing. No matter what idea you come up with, it's already cursed. It's not going to work. And in this case, where hate is the primary motivation, it's a curse. It will be showing up in these people's bodies. It's a curse. Now, what we're witnessing is, all I can say is there is this strange renewal of hope, even in the face. And folks, we got some tough times ahead of us, but there's a renewing of hope. And again, I have said this, I said it on Monday, something's changed. And when I look at the political arena now, I just see it through the occult eyes. You see how the energy, how it flows. Is this energy adaptable? Are other energies attracted to it? Does it seem to have a momentum? And the answer is yes. And then the fact that now you bring in where it's just not a central God, there is God. A God, the God, debatable. But God no less. I mean, we elevate them to what they are. We're the ones that give them definition. We're going to read about that here in a second. And it does, and from my perspective, as I spoke about it on Monday, this was the unseen realm. There's this realm, again, we've discussed this ad nauseum, is that it seems to be, it'll allow us to play in our play box until we piss in it. And then it's got to come in and clean the play box and change the sand. And that's what happened on Saturday. And things are strange. I want to bring this out. I want to show you this real quick, because there is some strangeness afoot. I mean, some strangeness, folks. So what I'm going to show you is a screen capture from a trading website, and this was posted on Friday, July 12th. Now, what you're seeing is that this is Trump Media and Technology Group. I'm invested in it. Yeah. Now, when you invest in stock, you have those who will short a stock or they'll go long on a stock. If you're going long and then you can take a short on the long position or, you know, a positive position. And it's all about prediction. This is the occult. If you want to study occultism, learn to read the financial markets. I marvel. I mean, back in the day when fiber optics was coming in, made a shitload of money. Redback networks. I mean, JDUS Uniphase. I made a fucking killing on those stocks. Anyway, the stock market, the financial markets, is one of the highest magical forms there is. And if you get good at it, you become a wizard. You go through the initiation, you become an adept, and then if you move forward, you get really good, and it has tremendous rewards, but it also has severe penalties. All magic does. But what you're looking at, this is a live chart, NASDAQ, on Trump media companies, and you can see who's taking a positive position or who's taking a negative pick, who's shorting the stock here. Now, since this was posted and it was left up for 5 hours, it's been since taken down. But the unusual thing about this is, and the company behind this is refuting that they're saying that this was a mistake. Doesn't matter. This deserves SEC investigation because the fact that they posted this has a direct influence on other investors. If you happen to be shorting a stock and then you're putting the puts on it, and that what you're saying is that stock you're betting, and in this case, it was some serious money betting against Trump media and technology companies. They were betting something was going to happen where this stock was going to tank. Now, this gets interesting because this gets really, boy, when you start finding out who's associated with Austin, this company, and you can see the rest of the companies, they began to take positions. Now, these are serious. These are contracts. These typically involve blocks of stock, 10,000 plus shares, sometimes a million shares. And you can see the subsequent companies that are taking the same similar position. Now, this was a day before the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Now, had reality stayed the way it was supposed to stay, and it's amazing how many people I'm here saying this, they get it. They may not be getting it in the same odor that we smell it, but they're aware of the smell, and they know something changed because the history that was supposed to be going right as it was supposed to be was the party that is now in unity, promoting love, was supposed to be in chaos. And now it seems the party that is the opposite of that party, the curse has rested upon them. They brought chaos. They sought to chaos and something else. Boom. Now, let me get back to this thing because there's some interesting things. Let's talk about the building that Mr. Croker was on. Do you know who that building is owned by? BlackRock. Now, it gets even more interesting. Who was involved in this? And by the way, had reality gone forward the way it was supposed to go, those that took this position would have reaped between 700 billion to $1 trillion profit. I'll say that again. Had reality gone forward and that chart not changed, these small group would have profited, and this was with Trump dead, where the assassination was successful. 700 billion to $1 trillion profit. Now, it's real interesting to see these companies that were involved are there. How does this sound to you? Does this sound like some familiar names? Rothschilds, the family. BlackRock, Meta, Vanguard, the Bushes, the Cheneys. You tell me, you make up your own thing, but it gets really stranger because this Kimberly Cheesel, I believe, who is the Secret Service director, guess who she has associations with? But we don't speculate here. We just kind of say, well, isn't that coincidental? Yeah. So, think about this. It's now spreading to the world. Something changed. You see, again, assassinations and attempts happen all the time. I mean, it's how these sides work, you know. Kill the king, and if you're the next in line, you know, you become king. And the course that we were set on, both of these political parties were mirroring each other. One would hate, the other would hate. Hate, 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 hate. And it's odd because if you've heard Trump talk about that, and he said he's never going to talk about it again, he was right there, folks. He's aware. Let me tell you what, you got to stop hating the guy. You may not like him, but stop hating him. Because if you think that you're so goddamn better than him, who the fuck are you? Your shit smells just as bad as his shit. If you got nothing to say, then don't say anything at all. If you're going to talk the merits of a particular point, then do that. But the hate, and it was being targeted and focused. If we could see in the psychic realm, it was like this freaking cannon of this laser energy, man. It just focused. It's dangerous. And he got it. His kids got it. It's amazing. Melania got it. Boy, didn't she look good last night? Wow. She is the picture of elegant and grace. But and when you start seeing this and realize that our reality is heavily based in magic. Call it the occult, whatever you want to call it, it is. I was on Chris's Matthews show, Forbidden Knowledge, the other day, and it was, so I was telling him, if you look at the two biggest manipulators of reality is religion and politics. And then there's things mixed in there, you got the finance, it's there, but it is really this citadel of high magicians, wizards, sorcerers, witches, spellcasters. In fact, religion and politics are spellcasters. Exactly what it is. If you have a platform, it's a spell. Now, how well the spell is put together in its concoction will determine its effect on all of us so-called free will spirits. But we are as much part of magic is part of us. We all practice magic. I was a practicing Christian for 50 years. I believed in the laying on of hands. That's fucking magic, folks. And then when you see results, well, you can say, is it psychosomatic or is there something really going on here? Now, I happen to think it's probably a little of both, but don't think that it doesn't work, because it does. I was a part that believed that I could speak in tongues. And I could begin to speak a language of the invisible realm and then interpret it. I come from the point that as much as in religion as in politics, that I'm going to speak as a prophet. And that's what the spell does. Not only is the head of every political party a wizard, whether they know it or not, doesn't matter. And the thing about the wizard is many times they're the prophets or prophetesses. That's magic. It's manipulating time, space. And when you begin to look at it in those terms and in that set of perspectives, it becomes very interesting. You can learn a lot. You can see these unseen powers, and this is where they move. Why? Because it moves us. Religion, politics plays a role in your life, whether you want to admit to it or not. The very fabric of society is predicated on this magic. And this is what you do. And this is the religion I came out of. I believed as well as that there was this ultimate spirit, that if it possessed you, you could have supernatural abilities, speaking in tongues, interpreting tongues, laying hands, having the gift of knowledge, the gift of seeing. And so where I sit today, none of this shit surprises me. In fact, when I read a lot of it, I'm going, well, that's fucking old news. Now, these writings may be 1,000+ years old, but it shows to me that there is a thread here. And that's how I believe. That's how I saw things. I know that how financial prosperity works. I know how prosperity works in general. Why are you calling those things that be not ye are? And the thing about it is, I hear people all the time speaking spells against themselves. They curse themselves. And I'll tell you one of the ways that it happens. If you're struggling in money, I would suggest you go back and listen to yourself talk. Are you saying you're broke? Are you saying you can't afford it? Are you saying that you have limited resources? Not saying deny the present, but if the future exists, you can change that future, calling those things that be not as though they are. And let me tell you where it comes to sickness. How many times have you heard a person say, I feel like crap. Or I think I'm catching a cold. As you think, so you are. You're the spellcaster. And yet, we call it completely everyday nomenclature. I hear people say all the time, well, if I didn't have bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. Well, what do you think you're going to have? But we don't. We're not trained and disciplined in that. Well, most aren't. Not saying everyone here is not. Um, but this is where I learned we're all wizards. Many of us are inexperienced. I was out working hard on the property yesterday. Had a lot of chores I had to do, folks. And I was talking. I always talk to the spirits. I'm out there and I know this, whether I am telepathically putting it out there, I know that there is connection. All prayer is channeling. Prayer doesn't work unless you channel and connect to something, whatever it is, you decide. And it was spoken to me that the reason why so many of us fail is that we fail to understand laws, principles. And since we are, in our essence, interdimensional, multidimensional beings, we just have not been taught how to operate within those laws. The ethereal, the supernatural, is real. It interacts here. And the supernatural must comply to the physical laws here, and vice versa. And if you want to tap into the resources in that supernatural, that ethereal realm, you have to apply yourself to the same laws and principles that dominate that realm. And the information is here to do that. It's not a mystery. But so many of us become limited within the days that we are here, that we have assigned ourselves. And I think in many cases, that's what we're looking for. A lot of people find it within a religion. A lot of find it within politics, philosophy, theology. But if you connect to it, it can change your life. So getting back to what we're seeing take place today, there is this event that has happened, and it's having as any type of disturbance, it has its concentric waves. And it hasn't stopped. It wasn't just that moment in time, in history. It continues to have reverberations. And get strapped in, folks, because these reverberations, they upset that which was before, and you're about to see it on a major scale. I think we've just entered in, but the good news is that within this, there is now, and I believe you're going to see it spread, and I'll tell you why. So as I'm watching the events that unfolded last night, it was great theater, better than anything that's on television, tremendous theater. But what really got my attention was the black pastor from Detroit. As he said, his church was in the hood. Now that's in the hood. As I'm listening to this man speak, wonderful orator, I'm telling my wife, I said, hon, I said, they can't stop this. I said, this is transcending race. This is transcending religion. I said, this is going to transcend politics. So listen to what this man is saying. Now, a lot of people, I don't think, really realized about the character of Trump. Now, that goes without saying. But this man was saying it's spreading. It's spreading to the other churches in the inner cities. And he said, it's the message of hope. We see hope. And then he said the magic word. He says, this man has favor of God on him. And I went, whoa. Now, we don't promote any religion here. We accept all points of beliefs and points of view. But this is significant because it's a common thread. And that's the thing they hate cannot stop. So this whole point of this discussion was that you folks that took part of this. Now, who knows? In the totality of the collective consciousness, maybe there were others, probably was, having the same thoughts as we did. May not have been articulated in the same manner, but yet it was of the same house. And you should take credit for this. It also should tell you how powerful things can happen. Small groups, focused. This group has done it a number of times. It's kind of a reason why I don't really want to grow into this big channel, because we can do so much work here. And these type of things really are better in the initial phases into the small cells. But this has now grown. I believe that this message of hope and love, and the fact that I don't have to hate you because of your religious beliefs, your philosophical beliefs, your political beliefs. You are human. You have that right. I welcome and recognize that. Now, you and I may differ on particular points, but that's okay. And it may be that we just agree to disagree. That's okay too. But that does not give you or I the license to invoke hate. You're invoking a curse. And now this curse has come home. I feel almost sorry for this political, because remember, a political party is an egregore. This one is now being attacked by a curse, and it can't fight the curse because no matter what it speaks, it's only adding to the curse. As these channels like MSNBC and CNN, who they've built these platforms just on the hate of one man. Is that fucking crazy or what? You build, and they're not a news outlet. They're in fact they're below a tabloid. But all they did was spew hate, and they're still spewing it. What they don't understand is that it's coming right back on. It's a curse, and they'll find out. They're already finding out. You see, they're practicing a very bad kind of magic. Because, again, all of this is the fact that we live in a magical world, and our words count. And this message of renewed hope. You see, our species is an amazing, remarkable species. We can only endure so much hate, so much negativity. And we can endure a lot. Our species have shown that. But it weighs us down. It weighs us down spiritually. It weighs us down mentally. Creativity is reduced. And when those days happen as we have been in, you almost become so cynical that you don't think hope is possible. And even when you have the hope and you have the hope of love, it is so overshadowed by the hate. But this is where it's changed. Now, whether it is a favor of a god or whether it's the favor of many gods and goddesses, which I think it's probably a little of both, more of the second. But they've been looking for a human being. Now, again, put your prejudices aside. Open your mind. Realize that if you could see it right now, there is this complex realm. It's got cities. It's an amazing scene. And those that rule in those dimensions, in those realms, they have not liked this either. And now there's this renewed message of hope. And the thing about it is, it's growing stronger. And mark my words on this, you're going to see it spread, because if you criticize me and if you call me bad names and if you throw all these curses, I can tell you it's not going to take. And people that follow that path just are adding the misery on top of themselves. Because our species must have hope. Otherwise, we would find a way to end it. Now, we can always get into philosophy. Well, if we're the sixth civilization and it's collapsing, well, then that means there's going to be a seventh. So I want to put my reservations in and make sure that I have, the best viewing spot in that seventh civilization. I mean, why not? But again, and this channel is about love. It's about acceptance. And let me tell you, no topic or no subject is taboo. We don't discuss politics here, but actually we do. Everything we do is based on politics of one nature or the other. Just like there's rituals, religion. It affects us all. The thing is that you have to learn to be buoyancy enough that you don't get weighed down by it. That's the lesson. And if you can do that, well, you have a tactical advantage. I dare say this is that you will be promoted here. That's the other thing. The spiritual realm is looking for you, others like us, to promote. It's a two-way street. We don't look at it like that, but it is. It's vast over there on the other side. And they have a lot of openings. The problem is they just don't have that many candidates qualified. But the way you become qualified is the fact that you can learn to forgive. You can learn to understand that forgiveness above all things is the key. Because with forgiveness, it comes in love. You become empathetic for the human race. And say what you will, but that man who has now altered our futures, all of our futures, this is where his heart really was. I was very much touched when you saw his granddaughter. You don't see that with the other party, but there's a love there, and that love is responding to love. No matter what you say about the individual, he has the capacity and the empathy and shows it of love, concern. That's a new hope. And I am hoping as well, because you see, in that environment, we will thrive as well. Our magic that we practice here, and as we continue to learn, will be, instead of overshadowed by this vibration, this negative energy, it'll be just the opposite. And more creativity will flow. More ideas, more different perspectives. And again, the other side is looking for humans that they can promote. Maybe you're ability and gift is in alchemy, maybe producing spells, maybe as a healer, maybe as a seer. Those beings can add to those gifts. And there's ways of which you can do that. I contend that there are ways that are nothing more than direct telepathic connection, where the exchange of ideas does not become the rarity, but it becomes the norm. Because there's a lot of people, there's a lot of hurt people on this planet right now. There's a lot of healing to be done. And it can get overwhelming. Well, this is a way to change that. We've done this in this group in circuitous ways. We had Al and doing the angel cards. We have Frater Shintek that on the 72 angels. We studied in depth for almost a year and a half on those angels. We didn't get as deep as I wanted to on the other angels, the ones that they call the demons. But we can still do that. And then there are those beings that have no name, at least until they introduce themselves. The spirit realm is not limited to a handful name of angels and demons. It is so far vaster. It is so much more filled. And there are spirits or energies, ETs, angels, however you want to do it, gods, goddesses. That's why I love Lilith. You see, there is a projection of Lilith that has been done by very evil men. She's a beautiful, beautiful energy. And she brings creativity and she can introduce you. I learned in my corporate incarnation, your network is vitally important. And in order to keep a lively, thriving network, it means you need introductions. Being introduced to this person, getting in an elevator, of just having the absolute circumstances come together. And as you're going up there, the elevator stops at the second floor and in walks this man, Donald John Trump. And I had my suitcase going up to my room and we have a discussion. And he was gracious, kind. Actually, he took me to the room and showed me, he was very proud of the bathrooms. This was at the Taj Mahal. And they were elegant. I tell you what, first class stuff all the way. And this was actually the opening weekend of the Taj Mahal. But my point is introductions. And in the spirit realm, you have to open yourself up to be introduced. If you feel like you're carrying the burden, that's your choice. You don't have to. And if you're afraid or sometimes timid about approaching the unseen realm, well, you're going to die eventually. You're going to eventually finish your time in this death realm and you'll get over there and figure it out. It's not bad to have it figured out here, you know? So I haven't seen it. Wayne is under the spell, just like most of you. Well, Nina, I would say I think we're all under the spell. You know, don't ever get so, where we think our magic is not, we're not above being under a spell. Hell yeah, we are. Yeah. I love it. Nina says, I do respect just expressing my opinion. And that's what it's about. Because our thoughts are like the tapestry of the constellations of the universe itself. That's what makes it beautiful. So, anyway, I was going to get into something. Um, in fact, I just might think it was real interesting. I think going out because this curse is here. It's active, and whoever's behind it and who's ever part of that favor aspect, it's real interesting. This is the book, The Mystery of the Ages. I just want to read this. It says, when Horatio, the tyrant of Syracuse, once proposed to the philosopher Simonides the question, what is God? The latter desired a day to consider it. Being asked the same question the next day, he desired 2 days for that purpose, and thus from time to time doubled the number. Hiero, being greatly surprised at this, inquired the reason for his conduct. He wrote, because, said Simonides, the longer I consider the subject, the more obscure it seems to be. Should you now ask of me this same question, said Cicero in his dissertation De Natura Deorum on the nature of the gods, I will reply to you as Simonides did to the tyrant of Syracuse. I am disposed to believe, he continues, that Simonides, who was not only an excellent poet, but also was neither wanting in reiteration nor in good sense, after his mind had followed the opinion after opinion, one more subtle than the others, without being able to discern which were true, finally lost all hope of finding truth. We're going to get more into this book, but I just thought I might lead that as our thought for the weekend. Sometimes the simplest way is to be as a child and just go far out. That's how it is. I can dig that. Uh, and I think it's through that innocent eyes that life sometimes jades us. You know, we become so staunch in a particular belief or a particular modality or however you want to position it. That's why I like in here. This group sometimes is like being in a rowboat that we're all rowing, but then we always seem to hit the waves. And you know, the waves has a tendency of shaking up things in the boat. But we've been remarkable in the fact that we traverse so many waves. Yeah. It's like you almost become like you don't even think about it. The person next to you, it's like, yeah, they got my back. uh let's see, what else is saying? Just reading some of the comments. Grace is right. Kids, please play nice. And that's all we're doing. We're all kids, we are. That's what makes us unique. You know, someone recently said to me, well, you should act your age. And I said, and where would that be? I didn't get the manual, did you? When I was 17, it's like, hey, so how am I supposed to act my age? I mean, you come to think about it, I'm technically ageless. How do you act in that? It's just all a perspective. Ah, all right. Hope this has been fun. Well, thank you, Rick. That's very kind of you. You're such good people here. You really are. Going back to sleep. It's so true. And yeah, so dress your age. What does that mean? How how is how is an old person supposed to dress compared to what is perceived to be a young person? No, and granted, the chicks that I knew when I was in that age Probably, well, very well. I have no doubt many of them probably still look pretty good in hip huckers. They don't make those anymore, at least that I don't know of. But yeah, never have figured that out. Dress your age. What does that mean? I mean, my mind doesn't see the aging process as aging. I mean, I look in the mirror and I'm going, dude, you've changed. But I'm looking on the inside and I'm going, no, it's still the same. I hear Bob Seger, still the same. Anyway, Mary Wynn says, I won't dress like an old person ever. I don't, yeah. And Mary, isn't it so true? Because you look at this thing and I don't know where that rack is. I mean, what department store is the rack that says for old people? I didn't see that in Macy's. Where is that? I don't know. I don't think Amazon's got that category, but yeah. Let's see. Joe Max says clothes don't make the man. It says more than about the observer. Yeah. However, my wife would tell you that she really gets hot. Still, a guy looks really good in suits. I got suits in my closet, tailor made, and you know, I gotta tell you what, I used to have to wear those all the time, and so I don't. You know, but ties were a really big thing with me. I always liked to have cufflinks, but ties were really important expressing. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. Susie Q, how you doing? Well, Paul Joe and John Price, good to see you. Claudette, hello, Lauren, how are you? I love my tank tops. Yeah, you see, that's my point. Exactly. Cryptic Christie. Uh, you know, uh, Christie, I guess he hasn't posted it yet. I thought it was live, but apparently not. But when I get the link, I'll put it in there because it was a great show. It really was. It was funny, um, deep, you know. Grace, thank you, darling. Hello, Deborah. How are you, my dear? Good to see you. Everything is connected, Grace. It really is. Yeah. Um, it's amazing. Stephanie, good to see you. She says, I love my cardigans in various colors. Exactly. I always remember the 80s because, again, I clothes were, an expression. And I love the collar pins on the ties. To me, that was just a sharp look. But anyway, uh, Joe says, I don't care for sleeves and cut them off. That's the point. Then you get that tan, which is really cool. I think we call it the farmer tan. Yeah. Uh, Yeah, I think he is off Facebook, Nina. I'm not sure where he's at. I don't know if it's on Rumble or Odyssey or one of those, but I'll email him, ask him. Hey, Jackie, have yourself a great weekend too. Thank you, Lori. Uh, love the dress. Yeah, yeah. It feels good to get dressed up once in a while, It really does. I used to remember going through airports because, I was going from one meeting and another. And, when you're doing a road show, oh, fuck. I mean, and so, because I like to dress casually if I'm traveling, but, when you have to wear the suit and, oh, man. Oh, yeah. That's where a good pair of shoes happens. There's Barbara. How are you? She says, I used to dress to please others. Now I dress to please myself. That's it. Barbara will be talking to you in a little bit too. Going to get Barbara back on. Yeah. But speaking about a good pair of shoes, no kidding. And how you women, I tell you, I marvel at you women. It's the fact that I don't know how some of y'all wear the shoes you do. No dude that at least I know of could ever wear heels, pumps. Just it's just one of those things. I don't know. Thank you, Stephanie. Good to see you as well. Mary Wynn says every girl loves to see a sharp dressed man. My wife would agree with you, Mary. Exactly. Happy birthday, Joyce. Hope it's a good one. Red Honey, how are you doing? I got the multicolored wife beater tank top. There we go. I love this group. That's fantastic. All right, folks, have yourself a great weekend. See you on Monday. I'll be doing a show with Judith Koba. And so looking forward to that as well. And getting some folks back on it. Going to get Chris Matthews on. Haven't seen him in a while. And so, yeah. All right. Susie Q says, I wear boots. There you go. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Nina says, join her and Robert on Sunday for the show. Lost in Space. Much love, brother. Um, so, all right, folks. Chloe, good to see you, dear. Elderberry, appreciate it. Joyce, have a great birthday. Party hardy, you know, make the day, count. That's it. All right, everyone. Until we see each other again, this is me saying happy trails.